Welcome to this presentation about the OpenStudyBuilder use cases. We are going to show which use cases there could be for the MDR, so the library metadata, the SDR, which is a study definition repository, and also use cases which are not directly related to those. Let's first look at the metadata repository use cases. The typical thing you do in a metadata repository is to manage your control terminology. And this is the CDISC control terminology, but also additional sponsor-specific control terminology. You typically have sponsor extension, and you might have additional control terminology. You could use this in downstream system, like you can export these things to SAS and to R. And here you can use it, for example, to use it as SAS formats or to perform various checks. And it really has a lot of opportunity for automation. So you also, if you already have another metadata repository or you would like to link to metadata repository systems, you can import and export to and from other metadata repositories or other sources. So this could look like the following. You do have the no-yes control terminology from CDISC, but instead of having just the N and Y, which are the submission values, you might even want to use some sponsor-specific names like really no and yes. Or even in sentence case, you have it in lower letters. And you can also, the second example here shows a sponsor-specific code list, which is in this case the study type. Another use case for the metadata part is to manage dictionaries. For example, you very likely also work with Medra, Loink, and UCOM, and you could also load these dictionaries into this one central place into your OpenStudyBuilder metadata repository system. So you can benefit from connections here. So instead of, for example, link your SAS evaluation environment to different MDRs or different sources, different databases, you can have one point of connection, which is the metadata repository of the OpenStudyBuilder. So again, here you can download, import, and export. Another thing is unit conversions. So also here you can manage them, import them, and export them. But here you also have a lot of opportunity for collaboration. The current example unit conversions which are available are just a very few. So, and also the way the unit conversion is stored and managed is currently not very elegant. So there would be an opportunity to enhance this kind of thing, to enrich the data and so on. So this is also a great example how we can collaborate. In the OpenStudyBuilder, there's also a part for standard CRF management. Later on, it's also planned to have the CRFs on study level, but this is work in progress. So currently it's managing standard CRFs. And here again, you can not only include them and create them to export them, for example, to your EDC system, you also can do the other way around. So you have your EDC system, create a standard CRF using the ODM standard, and then you can import this into your OpenStudyBuilder. So this is really meant that the OpenStudyBuilder is working with your EDC system. Another aspect is the management of activities, which are called in the standards terminology biomedical concepts. CDISC is developing also biomedical concepts in the so-called Cosmos model. So here you have the connection. And this is really also meant for standardization tasks, and it's also meant to be used by studies. So a biomedical concept could be a specific test which is executed, for example, measuring your body weight. And also here we have the opportunity for collaborations. There is a lot of collaboration already ongoing. We do have a CDISC OpenStudyBuilder group, which is discussing, and we are also having various workshops. So we are thinking about how to do curation, how to do the processes, not only for the OpenStudyBuilder, but also for CDISC in the Cosmos model. And finally, you also can manage protocol standard texts, which are by now objectives, endpoints, and criteria. And this is meant to allow for reusability and standardization, and this will enable also very, very fantastic search capabilities. Let's see some examples. So an objective could be to compare the effect of any compound relative to a comparator on an activity instance. And as you can see here, these are placeholders. So whereas we can define really generic texts, which we can reuse in very different studies, so we just exchange the core components, which are in orange here. And the same we have for endpoints. So for example, occurrence of activity, no, yes. Or an endpoint like the mean change from baseline in activity instance. I mean, this is a typical endpoint, but there could be various activities where this applies to. And also for criteria, like you want to have your age or above, and so on, what's your age group. And here we really can do also a lot of collaborations, because wouldn't it make sense to create a catalog of common objectives, endpoints and criteria? That would be pretty helpful. So we really could have comparable protocols, reusable snippets, which we can use all over. Let's now check for some study definition repository reusages. So where do we store and need study metadata? And this is the main purpose of the OpenStudyBuilder, this is for protocol automation. Everything starts with a protocol. So the idea is that you can enter all structured protocol information in your OpenStudyBuilder, and then you can fill the protocol with the OpenStudyBuilder content. So how does it look like? I mean, today we are still in a process flow that we do have our protocol document, and out of this Word or PDF document, we derive what we are going to collect from the EDC system and how do we analyze things. So it's still, we are using a Word document or a PDF document as basis to perform all our following work, which is really difficult with respect to transparency. And for this, Transliterate aims for this end-to-end automation, and Transliterate is using the study definition repository as base. So the way of tomorrow would be that you will store all your protocol information in the study definition repository, and then the protocol would be just one outcome. And you can reuse all the information for follow-up systems like content management systems, EDC systems, electronic health records, and so on. So this is what's the vision from the digital data flow, and this is also the vision for the OpenStudyBuilder. So for protocol automation, you can, as you have entered then in this metadata repository, you are forced to use the standards, so there couldn't be any typos. So for example, if you select the study type. And it's also that you can use then harmonized sentences like we've seen with this objective templates. We can select activities and build our visualizations. There will be a Word add-in, which is coming soon as an open source release from Novo Nordisk. This is expected in Q3 or Q4 2023. But additionally, you also have the opportunity for any kind of collaboration, because you don't need to use a Novo Nordisk process. You can also create your own processes and update the OpenStudyBuilder to fulfill whatever you need. So for example, the OpenStudyBuilder can create the schedule of activities. It can create objectives and templates. It's a prepared table you can just copy over. And also the study design graphics are available in the OpenStudyBuilder. And the Word add-in, which is coming soon as open source release, is available as a as a ribbon. So you can just have your Word document, then you log into your study, and then you can automatically fill all the information like protocol title, the flow chart, the schedule of activities, objective endpoints, inclusion, exclusion, and so on. So this is the Novo Nordisk way. We enter all protocol information into the OpenStudyBuilder tool, and then we just auto-generate the protocol. You could, for example, also do it vice versa. So you have your protocol as a basis and then include all information somehow into the OpenStudyBuilder via an automated process. This is not available, but if you would need such a thing, this is what you could do. Another opportunity to use study data is the trial domains, because all informations which are needed for the trial domains are actually also needed for the protocol. And for this, just by entering the protocol information, you will get the trial domains automatically out of it. So here is an example of a trial summary and a trial elements domain. And again here, the Novo Nordisk way is that you enter all protocol information into your OpenStudyBuilder and then you will get the trial domains automatically. But if you would like to do it vice versa, there's an opportunity as well. So you can fill the OpenStudyBuilder just from your trial domains and read them in. So it really depends on your specific use case which you can apply. And then we also have the activities, visits, and quite a lot of other things you can do. You can, for example, create a visit code list. You can have some tools to follow up or plan up on activities. And you can really reuse the information which is available just automatically. By having these APIs, which is standard interfaces, you just can grab all the information available quite easily and reuse it for any kind of automation. So this is, for example, you could use it for dashboards or reports. So you can do simply study spanning searches or search through all objectives. Give me all the studies which use placebo as a comparator arm. So these had been the use cases also for the study definition metadata. What other things we can have, whatever you can think of. For example, we could there's a preclinical working group focusing on protocol automation, which is just upcoming. So we already had a small proof of concept that we can just use the OpenStudyBuilder, which is planned for clinical studies, so meaning phase 1 to phase 4 trials. But we could adopt this to use the send code list, so really the preclinical ones. And instead of having subjects, you can then enter your preclinical informations. And you can develop your own things and ideally share it with the community, of course. But you can also develop things like way arounds with vendors. And even when you work with vendors, it's possible that you can share it with the community. You just have to make sure that you set up the contracts that way that allows also the vendors to share their experiences or share their developments within the complete community. What we really would like to have is we do have our OpenStudyBuilder universe, which is coming along with this database containing the standards and the study definitions. It comes along with quite a lot of tools and scripts. But what we would love to see is also additions. So plugins, extensions, standalone tools. And this doesn't need to come from Novo Nordisk. This can come from anyone, from vendors, from farmers, from CROs. There's really a lot of opportunity for automation and enhancing the tool. So for this we would love to have collaborations. And if you have any questions, ideas or feedback, we would like to get it. Just contact us via openstudybuilder@gmail.com. You can reach out in Slack or just use LinkedIn.